Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Daf Tes. We are holding on Chesamad base towards the bottom, 4 lines from the bottom. We know that Tzaras Erva is pater from Yibum, according to Shidas Beis Hillel. It's based on Gzera Shava, Aleha, we have Aleha by Yevama, Aleha, we have the extra word Aleha by the Isha Lachaisa Lesikach, Litzrar Legalis, Ervasa Aleha B'chaya. The extra Aleha tells you that even in a Yibum circumstance, an Erva is us. Rebbe, however, learned the same halach from a different pasuk, as we had yesterday, V'yivma, V'lokcha. So that leads us into today's sugya. According to Rebbe, Aleha is extra. Rebbe Hayaleh, my Avadle, what does he do with the Aleha? Since he learns the halach of Tzaras Erva from the other pasuk, look at the Sanya, we need it for the following halacha. Ein chayavrim bezdin, ela al davar shez doine kores v'shigase chatas v'chen HaMashiach. Says Rashi on the bottom line. Ein chayavrim bezdin lahavi par al helam davar. We're speaking that a bezdin issued an erroneous psak and the tzibur followed along. They need to bring a special carbon, a par, a cow, he'elam davar, because it was concealed, it was forgotten, it wasn't known. And this is a special carbon that a tzibur will bring. The same thing happens to a kohen Mashiach, which means a kohen anointed through Shemen HaMishcha, a kohen gadol. If he comes across an erroneous psak that he himself issued and he carries out, b'shogeg, of course, he will bring a par kohen Mashiach. This only applies if it's a very severe avera, an avera that carries with it a potential kares, if it's done b'shogeg. In this case, we say the chatos brought in these cases is a par. Continues the Gemara. Similar case would be if the bezdin issued an erroneous psak when it comes to halachas avodah zarah. You can do this, you can do that, and the tzibur follows through. They bring a par lo'ila and a sar lachatos. But again, that only applies to something really severe. Ela al davar shechayaven al zdoinoi kores v'shigase chatas, something that carries with it a potential kores and chatas. But Tananami, we find a similar mishnah called mitzvah shebetorah shechayaven al zdoinoi kores v'shigase chatas. Any aver that one transgresses that carries with it a potential kores and a shogeg chatas, yachid maybe kisbos ira. Now we meant to know that when it comes to chatois, there are different types of animals for different types of people. There are 4 categories, 4 levels. We have the Yachid, an ordinary individual. We have the Nasi, who's the Rosh Sanhedrin or the Melech. We have the Kohen Mashiach, as we mentioned, and we have the Tzibur that follows the Bezdin. So when it comes to other mitzvahs, they carry with them a potential chorus. And conversely, the flip side would be a Chatas if done b'shogeg. What type of animal does one bring? Yachid, maybe Kisba, Isir, is a choice. Female sheep, female goat. Nasi, he'll bring a male goat, maybe soyer. Mashiach, Bezdin, the Kohen Mashiach who errs, or the Bezdin, and subsequently the Tzibur who follows through, they will bring as follows. A par, Mevi'in par, that's the par helam davar, as we mentioned before, or the par Kohen Mashiach, as we mentioned before. This applies to ordinary averas. When it comes to avodah zarah, it's a unique avera which generates its own type of carbon. So once again, let's go through the levels. Yachid, or a Nasi, or a Mashiach, these 3 have the same halacha. Maybe in Seira they bring a female goat. But a Tzibur, who follow the Psak Bezdin, they bring 2 karbanis. When it comes to avodah zarah, it's a double carbon, Mevi'im, par v'soir. Par is lo'il, v'soir lechatas. Okay, before we proceed, let's make just a quick summary here. We have the Yachid, the Nasi, the Mashiach, and the Tzibur. Pertaining to all other mitzvahs, the Yachid will bring either Kisbo or Isira, a Nasi will bring a Soir, Mashiach par, and likewise a Tzibur par. When it comes to avodah zarah, Yachid, Nasi, and Mashiach will bring Seira. By a Tzibur, it's par lo'ila b'sar l'chatas. Continues the Gemara. So how do we know that all these requirements, all these karbanos are only going to be brought upon transgressing a very severe avera that carries with it a curse penalty? Menanimili Tana Rabbanan. This is the pasuk by par he'elam davar shel tzibur v'noida hachatas asher chatu alehom. What type of avera did they do? Rabbi Omer. Here is Rabbi. Rabbi Omer, the word aleh is coming to teach you what type of avera they did. Nemar kan aleh, we have aleh over here. V'nemar lahalan aleh, we have aleh elsewhere. That's by the isha lachoisa, by the arayos. We connect it to and we say malahalan, just like over there. We're speaking about a type of avera which is davar shechayaven and malzdoine kares vashigase chatas. The reason why there's a chatas is going to be coming because there's a kares involved there. Afkan here as well, davar shachayovan al zdoine kares, vashid gase chates here as well. When we speak about par helam davar shal tzibur, it is uniquely in a case where they did something that carries a kares potential. Ashkhan tzibur. Okay, so we've discovered the source by the tzibur. What about the other individuals? Mashiach Menolim. How do we know the par Mashiach also follows the same guidelines? It dafka applies to something which carries a kares potential, the Chsivu Mashiach, because by the Kol Mashiach it says he erred, he made a mistake, la'ashma sa'am. So we're sort of connecting his avera to the tzibur. How do Mashiach ke tzibur? We're now connected the Mashiach to the tzibur. They both follow the same guidelines. What about the Yachid and the Nasi? Yachid v'Nasi. Asya, we connect it through Gzera Shav. Mitzvahs, mitzvahs. We have the word mitzvahs by the Yachid and the Nasi. We have the word mitzvahs by the tzibur. Just like the tzibur will only bring if it was an avera associated with a kares, likewise the other individuals as well. So this pertains to other averas. What about when it comes to avodah zarah, which also follows pretty much the same formula? So these karbonos will only be brought if you committed an avera, did a true avodah to the avodah zarah, something which carries a kares, and therefore subsequently it will generate a chatas. How do we know this? When it comes to tzibur, yolef me'ene, we draw gzera shava between the halacha of the carbon of a desire by the tzibur to me'ene, which is said by the par helam davar shal tzibur that we discussed earlier. And just like over there, we've already established that it's only something that pertains to a kares. Here as well, by avodah zarah, it's only something which is linked to kares. So we've established tzibur. What about Yachid, Nasi, Mashiach? That their karbonos of avodah zarah is only as a result of a true avodah zarah, which carries a kares, mive'im nefesh achas. So in the parsha of avodah zarah, we have the lashon nefesh, right? So nefesh is a very general, generic term. It can be referring to anybody, echad yachid, individual, echad nasi, echad mashiach, mashma. Not a tzibur, but an individual of any stature, yachid, nasi, mashiach. And we have the vav, v'im. Vav is a connector. Vav moisiv al inyan rishon, it connects this parsha of the carbon of a desire pertaining to these individuals to the previous parsha. The parsha stated before this one, which is the tzibur, v'yilmad tachtoin, and therefore the later parsha discussing yachid, etc., will now derive mina elyon from the previous parsha, which is the tzibur, and just like the tzibur will only bring when it's a avodah zarah that carries a kares potential. Likewise, these individuals will only be chayiv their carbon under the same circumstance. So that bottom line, we found the teres kasha. What does Rebbe do with Hallel? He uses it for the other limud, to teach you the guidelines of these karbonos. Now we're stuck with the Rabban. How do they know these halachas? Because according to them, Hallel has been applied to halachas of Yibum and is unavailable to teach us this halacha. This halacha that these karbonos only come when it's a true heavy isser, a kares isser. Nafkalu, they learned from a different makar. With the makrilei, Rabbi Shua Lebrei, from that source, that Rabbi Shua taught his son. There's a pasuk by avodah zarah which says, "Torah achas yelachem lo isa b'shgaga v'nefesh asher tasi b'yad rama." So this carbon, this process is applied to a shagig of avodah zarah, and then the pasuk proceeds to describe a person transgressing avodah zarah b'meizit, b'yad rama, negligent, b'meizit. Since the pasuk mentions the word Torah, it's coming to tell you something. We're going to connect the entire Torah. The entire Torah will follow the guidelines set forth by avodah zarah. We connect the entire Torah, every shegig to avodah zarah, and we'll say ma avodas kechavim, just like by avodah zarah. It follows this formula. It's a davar shechayav and alzdoin nekaras v'alshigigase chatas. The reason why there's a carbon chatas is because it's the flip side of karas. Because this avodah zarah carries a karas potential as well. Afkal, likewise. We speak about all the other chatois pertaining to other averos in the Torah. It will only come if it's something which carries a karas potential, davar shechayav al zdoi nekuris, and therefore bal shkigas chatas. Okay, so we've established that just like Avodah Zarah is a kares chatas arrangement, likewise throughout the entire Torah, but this only applies to a nefesh. V'nefesh hashatasa, that's an individual. Ashkhan yachid, an individual. V'nasi, u'mashiach, bein b'avadis kechavim, bein mishar mitzvahs. So we've just established that a yachid, or a nasi, or mashiach, their chiyuv chatas when it comes to Avodah Zarah, or other mitzvahs, only applies when it's a kares type of situation. What about the tzibur? We haven't discussed tzibur here. V'nefesh is an individual, not a tzibur. Tzibur b'avadis kechav menayin. What about tzibur when it comes to Avodah Zarah? Their carbon is only when it's a kares related activity. Omakra v'im nefesh. The pasuk of Avodah Zarah says v'im nefesh, which connects the current parsha to the previous parsha. Vav is that connector. V'yilmad elyon mitachten. And we're going to learn the Elyon from the Tachten. The Elyon in the previous parsha speaks about the tzibur. They will dig down, they will go down to the Tachten, the next parsha, which speaks about the individuals. And just like over there, it's something which is a kares related activity. Likewise, the chiyuv karbon chatas by a tzibur by Avodah Zarah only applies in this type of situation. Okay, so almost there. We have one thing to figure out. Elot tzibur b'sham mitzvahs minol. What about the chiyuv par helam davar shel tzibur by other mitzvahs? That it's only if it's a kares related activity. Yolif me'ene, we draw that gzera shava. We have the word me'ene by the par helam davar shel tzibur. We have me'ene by Avodah Zarah, just like by Avodah Zarah. It needs to be something which contains a kares potential, and only that generates this chiyuv carbon. Likewise, by other averos as well, it has to follow all these guidelines. Okay, so according to all, whether it's Rebbe or the Rabbanon, we pretty much established the facts. The karbanos will only be generated if they were involved in a kares related aver. Now one more kasha. What's going on with the Torah achas according to Rebbe? It's an extra puzzle because he's already used aleh to teach us these halachas, as we had before. Aleh to teach us the halachas of kares and chatas. What does he do with Torah, which was the pasuk that the Rabbanon needed, because they didn't have all that? Because to Rebbe, that's extra. What does he use it for? He needs it for the following halach. Look at the Sanya. The Raisa says like this. We find the interesting thing. When it comes to Avodah Zarah, merubim, entire city that worship Avodah Zarah, they're called ir hanidachas, and they get their own type of penalty. They're put to death using a saif, a sword. And their entire city, the money, their possessions are all destroyed and burnt up. That's only by merubim, by community. But by a yachid, an individual who errs, who does Avodah Zarah, we're speaking of b'mezid, he gets a different type of treatment. We find the Torah differentiates ben yechidim lemerubim. When it comes to Avodah Zarah, we differentiate between individuals and the collective community. Yechidim b'skila, when it comes to a yachid who does Avodah Zarah, he's put to death by skila, by stoning. Therefore, the flip side of that is that their money, their possessions, get spared. There's no din to destroy their possessions. So skila comes along with sparing possessions. As opposed to merubin b'sayif. If the entire city does Avodah Zarah b'mezid, they get sayif. So they're put to death by sword, and also their money and their possessions get destroyed. So it's pretty much wrapped together. Skila does not carry with it destruction of property, and Saif does. So that distinction we find when it comes to Mezid. What about B'shogig? Yochel nachlik b'karban is saying, perhaps I'll draw a line between the Yochel and the Rabbim pertaining to the carbon that's brought B'shogig as well. Tamad loyma, that's why we need a pasuk Torah achas yelochem. It's all one and the same. When it comes to Mezid, there's a difference. When it comes to Shogig, it's all the same carbon. Which means basically that even if an entire city did Avodah Zarah b'shogig, since it wasn't a shavit, it wasn't based on the bezdin psak, they don't have the din of the par helam davar or all that. They have a din of yichidim, even though it's just it's a whole city. It's 1,000 people. There are 1,000 individuals, and they get their carbon like a yachid, which is pretty much the seira as we mentioned earlier. So according to Rabbi, Torah is coming to tell you it's one Torah, it's one halach. Maskefler of Chilki Mehagruni. He has a kash. Time of the Kasser Rachmana Torah Achas Yelachem. It seems that it's only because we have this pasuk that you come to this conclusion. Because otherwise, I would say, let's differentiate. If an entire city does the Avodah Zarah, b'shegig, they bring a different type of carbon. My Laisa, what should they bring? Do you have any suggestions? Everything's been taken up. There are no available options. The Gemara is assuming that they need to bring something unique, something different that's not ordinarily brought. And we ran out of options. There's nothing left here. Let's go through the entire list. And we'll see that all slots are taken. Laisu par. Should we obligate them to bring a par? Well, that's been taken by the tzibur. Tzibur b'shar mitzvahs with the ma'isi. The community based on the psak bezin will do an aver. They'll bring a par al davar. That's been taken up. That type of carbon has been claimed. What about the kispa? Well, the yachid brings it. Yachid b'shar mitzvahs with the ma'isi. A kispa is brought by a yachid when he does an ordinary aver. So that's been taken up. What about a soyer? Well, that's also taken up by the nasir. Nasi b'shar mitzvahs with the ma'isi. A nasi does an ordinary avera. He brings a sir. What about par lo'oila b'sar lachatas? That option? That's also been taken up. Tzibur b'avodas kechavmu d'maisi. When a tzibur does avodah zara, they bring a par and a sir. Ve'elamai, what's only one left? Seira. Female goat. Yachid nami hainu karbani. Well, that's exactly what a yachid brings by avodah zara. So you no longer differentiate between a yachid and the city. So even without a pasuk, there's nothing left. There's no other option left. What can you suggest as a possible carbon for the merubim, for the entire city that errs with avodah zarah? So bottom line is, why do you need a carbon to tell you that the yachid and the merubim bring the same carbon? There's really another option. Answers the Gemara, it's true. There is a need for a pasuk. Because Salkadai Techamina, perhaps I would say, we can figure out some sort of idea, some sort of carbon idea, that the city will be chayiv. Since we find that if the entire tzibur follows the haraz bezin, what do they bring? Maisu parla oila b'sar lachatas. When it comes to avodah zarah, they bring those two karbanos. Inu nami naisu ifcha. Perhaps let's suggest that the city that does avodah zarah b'shagi, they'll also bring a par and a sar, just the other way around. We'll reverse the order. Par will be a chatas and sar will be an oila. So we'll come up with some creative solution for them. Inami, or you can say tzarech. They should bring something different. There really isn't any other option, therefore they have no way to rectify their aver. They're stuck. That's what I would think. Comes the pasuk and says no. Torah achas. It's all one and the same. Whether it's a yachid, one person, or 100 people, they'll bring the same carbon, which means they'll bring a seira. So dafka, the entire shevet or klal Yisrael follows the bezin. Then they have a unique halacha of a tzibur, and they bring a special carbon, par la'oila b'shar lachatas. But otherwise, they don't fit that criterion. It's a yachid. It's 100 yachids, 1,000 yachids. And they'll bring a seira. And all this is learned from the pasuk Torah achas yalachem, that we don't differentiate between a yachid or a merubim. So bottom line is, whether it's Rebbe or the Rabbanon, we come up with the same conclusion, that all these karbonis brought by a shogeg, whether it's shar mitzvahs or avodah zarah, will only happen if it's a very heavy avera that contains with it a potential curse if it was done b'mezid. The question only is where we learn this from. Rebbe learns it from Aleh. The Rabbanan learn it from the other pasuk, Torah achas, etc. Okay, let's go back to our Mishnah, back on that base. Amar le Levi le Rebbe. Levi had a shaila to Rebbe. My area the Tani Tesvav. Why does the Mishnah suffice with only 15 arayas? 15 arayas that are parted from Yibum, that will exempt their tzara as well. Listening to Zion. Why don't we add another one for a total of 16? I found another option, another one on the list. Amar lei, so Rebbe responds very harshly. Kemadumali, it seems to me she'enloi moyach b'kadgadi, he doesn't have a brain in his head. Chavis Yer says that when we find, sometimes in Shas we find these harsh expressions, actually they're complimentary. He meant to say like this: this question doesn't really fit your standards. You're much higher than such. I didn't expect this from you. You shouldn't have asked such a shaila. My daitach, what are you thinking? What's the 16th one that you want to add? Imoy anusis aviv. So let's say we have Reuven and Shimon, and the Yevama happens happens to be Shimon. Shimon's father is Anusa, a woman with whom he had a forced relationship. So she ended up marrying Reuven, right? Shimon's brother Reuven, with whom he shares a father, which is legal, right? Reuven can marry their father's Anusa, and it so happens to be that she was also Shimon's mother, right? So again, we have Reuven and Shimon. We have the father Yaakov, who had a forced relationship with Sarah, gave birth to Shimon. Shimon now is a son of Sarah. So Sarah is A, his mother, B, Anusas Aviv, the Anusa of his father. So to Shimon, she's an erva, because she's his mother. But to his brother Reuven, she's not his mother. At most, she's Reuven's father's Anusa, which is mutter to him. So he can marry Sarah. Reuven passes away. Sarah is a Yevamos falling to Shimon. She's not eligible for Yibum because she's Shimon's mother. So why did the Mishnah mention that case as well? So he answered, Imoy Anusas Aviv, that's not so simple. Plukta de Rabbi Yehuda Rabboni. It's really machlekes. Back on Daf Dalet. According to Rabbi Yehuda, one is not allowed to marry the Anusa of his father. So Reuven could never have married her. So the whole circumstance doesn't work. The situation can't even happen. Ube plukta like Hamari. And the Mishnah doesn't want to get into situations that involve machlekes. Meaning, according to Rabbanan, Reuven was allowed to marry this Isha with whom his father had a forced relationship. So then you can, it creates a situation where Reuven married her, he passed away, she fell to Shimon. She's an erva to Shimon because she's also Shimon's mother. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, Reuven is not allowed to marry Anusas Aviv. The whole situation could not have come about. We don't want to get involved in situations of machlekes. V'loi, really? We're not getting involved in machlekes? Take a look at the next parak. On Avchav, Yisur Mitzvah, Yisur Kedusha, we have situations where it's an Yisur of Mitzvah, like an Isha that's Asa to the Kohen. Yisur Kedusha, we have situations of Yichus, Mamzer, the Pligir, B'kiv Rabbanon. That's, those halachas are based on machlokes, B'kiv and Rabbanon, as Rashi explains. So, why do we discuss that? Uktani, we have a whole discussion about it. The Pirik and Kamrina. In our Pirik, we don't want to get involved in machlekes, but in the other Pirik we do. Really? We had this machlekes the other day. Actually, we're going to have it in a couple of days regarding Tzara Serva. According to Beis Shammai, Tzara Serva is mutter. According to Beis Hillel, it's aser. So you're getting involved in the machlekes. You're telling me Tzara Serva is aser, that's Beis Hillel, not Beis Shammai. And says the Gemara, Beis Shammai b'mokim Beis Hillel ain't a Mishnah. Shitas Beis Shammai is not considered authoritative when Beis Hillel is involved. We don't reckon with it, so it's not really considered. For all practical purposes, we don't have two shitas, it's just one sheet. The erva called Eishes Achiv Shloyei Beilamai is not universal, it's not agreed upon by all shitas. Reb Shimon is matir. And why does the Mishnah mention it? Right. We have Reuven who passes away. Shimon is born after Reuven passes away. Reuven's wife Rachel is Eishes Achiv Shloyei Beilamai. Shimon never saw Reuven, never lived together with him. Was never alive at the same time as Reuven. According to Rabban, that's a problem. But according to Reb Shimon, Eishes Achiv Shloyei Beilamai in certain cases is mutter. And still the Mishnah just mentions it flat out. Uktani. As though it's agreed upon by all. What do you mean it's a machlekes? Answers the Gemara. No. Benoilad ulbasayv yibim like palag Reb Shimon. In certain cases, Reb Shimon agrees that it's an erva. Noilad ulbasayv yibim. What is that? So you have Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Reuven was married to Rachel. Passes away. Shimon, the surviving brother, is the potential Yavam. Right then, before he does Yibam, Levi's born. Levi arrives on the scene. So Levi and Reuven never saw each other. Right? We say saw each other, meaning they never They were never alive at the same time. Right? So, in this case, where Levi was born before Shimon even got a chance to do Yibam, even Reb Shimon would agree that Reuven's former wife Rachel is asur on Levi because he encountered her as a Yevama. When does Reb Shimon hold that there's no problem of Eishes Achav Shlei Ba'ilami? That's only in this following case, when Shimon was Miyabim and then Levi was born. So Reuven passes away. Shimon takes over his family. He's a Miyabim Rachel. And then Levi is born. Levi encountered Rachel in Shimon's household. She was already married to Shimon. As far as he's concerned, as though she was never married to Reuven. He can erase that part of her history. He'll have to relate to that part of her history. That's what Shimon's shita. We're going to see later in the second paragraph of Hashem. I can ignore the fact that she was married to my departed brother because I didn't see her in that state. I met her when she was married to Shimon, my existing brother. But if Levi showed up before Shimon got a chance to be miyabim her, so he noticed her, he saw her, he experienced her as a Yevama from Reuven. He can't ignore that fact. So even after Shimon is miyabim her and Shimon passes away, he can't relate to her. He can't be miyabim because he saw her when she was a Yevama from Reuven. As far as he's concerned, she is his departed brother, Reuven's wife as well. So again, b'noilad, in a case where Levi was born and then Shimon was miyabim, and then Shimon passes away, and Levi wants to be miyabim. Shimon doesn't disagree. He's not chayil. He agrees that in this case, Rachel is asur to Levi, and that's what the Mishnah Bais is speaking about. Therefore, we're not getting involved in machlekes. Really, Reb Shimon would agree that it's asur. Didn't Rabbi Yehuda tell us that chalakaya Reb Shimon af b'rishon? Even in this case, Reb Shimon disagrees. The fact is, once Shimon marries her, her past history gets deleted, and when Shimon passes away, Levi is a suitable yavam. So basically, you can't say that Reb Shimon agrees. He disagrees, even in this case. So basically, our mission is getting involved in the machlekes. The fact is, the Gemara there refutes Rabbi Yehuda, and the way we conclude is that, yeah, in this case, Reb Shimon would agree that she's asur, and that's what the Mishnah Bais is speaking about. So we're not getting involved in the machlekes. It's universally accepted and agreed upon halach. Really? Our mission is not discussing machlekes. Likewise, we had a brayso, the name of Rav Chia, who was a Talmud of Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, who made the Mishnayos. Regarding all the arayos in our mission, all 15, and I can apply to them the following formula. You see, let's say you have Reuven and Shimon, who married two sisters. Rachel married to Reuven, and Shimon married Leah. Okay, pass away, and the two remaining brothers, Levi and Yehuda, are the Yevam, and they want to do Yibam. Problem is that there are two Yevamis standing here, and they happen to be sisters. They share the same mother, let's say. One may not marry his wife's sister, and likewise, there's a problem with marrying, with being miyabim. One of these two Yevamis are really sisters, each one being a sister of the other Yevama, who's committed to you as well. So it's like almost like marrying your wife's sister, even though you weren't miyabim anybody. But since they're bound to you, something called zika, they're bound to you. It's as though you've already initiated some sort of relationship with them, and marrying either one of them is considered like your wife's sister. That's a problem. Now, one way to get out of it is in a situation where only one of these Yevamis are bound to you. How's that? Let's say the other one's asur on me. Well, let's say we have two Nashim, Rachel and Leah. One of them happens to be my daughter, my aunt, my sister. In which case, for me, she's not a Yevam. For me, she's irrelevant. She's not part of the equation. Only the other one is. So the other one is totally muta, because she's not a sister of my Yevama. The first one's not my Yevam, she's an Erva. So Rav Yehuda Rav tells us that if you sit down, you can figure out that this formula can apply to all arayos in the mission. You can work it all out in this way. That figure out how even if you'll have two sisters falling Liyibim at once. Right? We have Reuben and Shimon. Reuben married Rachel, Shimon married Leah. They're two sisters. Reuben and Shimon both pass away at once. So you have two Yevamis available for Yibum, to Levi and Yehuda. You can work it out that you'll avoid the situation of marrying the sister of your Zekuka, sister of your potential Yevama, because one of them is an Erva on you, and irrelevant. And therefore you really only have one Yevama. And the same with my brother. For instance, Rachel and Leah. So to me, Rachel is a daughter. She's irrelevant. Only Leah is my Yevama. Perfectly legal. Regarding my brother Yehuda, to him, Leah is an Erva. Only Rachel is eligible for him. So in that case, he can marry Rachel without any concerns. Bekulan, regarding all the Arayis in the Mishnah, and the I can apply on them the formula which says Ha'asura Lazeh, Muteris Lazeh. You have two Yevamis, Rachel and Leah. Rachel is Asur to this brother, but Mutter to this brother. V'asura Lazeh, and Leah, who is Asur to this brother, Muteris Lazeh, and Mutter to the first brother. And therefore, V'achayse Sheyivimta, even if you have two Yevamis standing here, both are sisters, you're free to do anything you want, Chalitza or Yibam, because, as we said, as far as I'm concerned, one is off the map. One is the Erva. I'm only bound to one of them. My brother has the same situation. He's also on one of them. One of them is an Erva. Any one of these 15 Araya situations, whatever it is, it's irrelevant why. It's an Erva, so that one's off the table. So you're free to be Miyabim, the one that's Mutter to him. So you can work it out with all the Arayas. It applies to daughter, to sister, to aunt. You can work it out. If you have some time, there's a long Rashi here. It goes through all the different Arayas, figures out the family tree, how it works out for all the Arayas. If Rabbi Yehuda metargim mechamoise ve'elach. Rabbi Yehuda says, look, this formula only applies from chamoise, from mother-in-law, which is the 7th name in the Mishnah. From there onward. But let's not apply to the first 6 cases in the Mishnah, which starts from daughter, right? Daughter, we're speaking, by the way, daughter me'anusasa, a daughter from a forced relationship, as Rashi explains in the Mishnah. And we don't want to apply this formula to daughter. Why? It doesn't apply to the first 6, starting from daughter to granddaughter, etc. No, we don't apply to those cases. My time of why? Because to apply this formula to daughter, it can only work out if the daughter was ba'inus. We'll see in a minute. Where it doesn't work out if it was done through marriage. And since that's true, it's not probable. It's not a common case. B'nesuin kamari, the Mishnah wants to speak about common cases through marriage, but instantly kamari, not forced relationships. We'll get to it back in a second. Just finish this piece. Abayi disagrees. Abayi metargim. He says that this formula can apply to all cases in the Mishnah. Even for bita from an anusa. Because you could just figure, since you can work it out by an anusa, fine. If you want, it'll work out from an anusa. If you prefer, but an anusa tavi. Go work out by Nisun. Basically what he's saying is like this, that although this specific case of Bita working out in this manner, that she's also to this brother, Mutta to that brother, Mutta to this brother, also to that brother, only works out by Unsin, that's fine. Some cases in the Mishnah speaks about Unsin, some cases speak about Nisun, that's fine. He doesn't consider it to be problematic. You're defining, you're restricting yourself to an Oina situation. Okay. Before we go back, let's just go back for a second. What does the Gemara mean that Bitoy can only work by Oinsin? Okay, so this is what happened here. We have Reuven and Shimon, 2 brothers. And Reuven was Ma'anes, he had a forced relationship with Sarah. Produced Rachel. So Rachel is Bitoy Ba'insin, right? To Reuven. Shimon did the same thing. So with an Oines, with Sarah, he produced Leah. So Leah is Shimon's Bitoy Me'insin. Now Rachel proceeded to marry Levi, Right? We have 4 brothers, Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. Parah married Levi, which is fine. Leah married Yehuda. Levi, Yehuda passed away. So now Levi's wife, Rachel, is Asa to Reuben. She's Bita Manasase, which is Asa. Right? She's Asa to Reuben, but Mutter to Shimon. Yehuda's wife, which is Leah, is Asa to Shimon. She's Bita Manasase, and Mutter to Reuben. So Reuben can marry Leah, and Shimon can marry Rachel. So although Rachel and Leah are really sisters, and typically 2 Yevamos that fall at the same time, 2 Yevamos that are sisters that fall at the same time are problematic, because each one is a sister of your Yevama, but in this case, it doesn't hold true because Reuben only has one potential Yevama, which is Leah, because Rachel is totally off limits for him. She's his daughter. Same thing with Shimon. Rachel's his Yevama. Leah's off limits because she's his daughter. Now you realize this only works by an oinus. Because suppose we would remove the oinus factor. Reuben married Sarah and had Rachel. You can never go further. You can never take it to the next step because Shimon can never marry Reuben's wife. Even after Reuben divorces her, his sister, he can't marry her. So the only way to take it to the next step, that Reuben and Shimon should both have children from the same Isha, it only works if it's Einus. Okay, so it's pretty clear. So this is the only way we can work out this formula when it comes to B'tay. Trying to figure out a case of B'tay that we Asa to one brother, Mutter to the other, it only works by an Einus. So the question is whether or not the Mishnah wants to get involved in an Einus situation. So that's a Shaila. Some say yes, some say no. Okay. Aval, says the Gemara, Eishes Achiv Shloya Beilamai Loi. But certainly when it comes to the Eishes Achiv, Shloya Beilamai. Right? So again we have Reuben and Shimon. Reuben passes away, leaves behind Rachel, and suddenly a new brother arrives. Levi arrives on the scene. So Rachel to Levi is Eishes Achiv, his brother's sister, brother's wife. Shloya Beilamai, with whom he had no relationship, he never saw him. They were never around at the same time. So when it comes to that erva, you cannot apply this formula, Asa to this and Mutter to this, etc. Why? My timer. Because this can only possibly work out according to Rabbi Shimon. We don't want to get involved in machlokes. Okay, let's just see the words inside, and then we'll go take a look at the diagram. My timer. Why don't we want to get involved in this case? Given the Rabbi Shimon and the Mishkachasla. It's only feasible according to Rabbi Shimon. The Rabbanon le Mishkachla, but not according to Rabbanon. If we looked at like a Mari, we would not want to get involved in machlokes, and therefore, apparently, we cannot work out this case, which would entangle us in a machlokes. Rav Safra Metargim, he says, yeah. He says, Reb Chia's case, the formula of Bechula, Neikara, etc., applies even to Eishes Achiv, Shlei Beilamai, Umeshkachas La B'shita Achem. We could work it out with 6 brothers, Valib the Reb Shimon, according to Reb Shimon. So, we're not concerned if we have to get involved in a machlokes. As long as we can work it out according to some shita, we'll work it out. How's it going to work out? V'simonech, we follow the following formula. Meis Neilad V'hivim, Meis Neilad V'hivim. So just a literal translation. He passed away, new brother came about, and there was a Yibam. Next brother passed away, a new brother arrived, and there was a Yibam. So it means as follows. Again, we're trying to find a case where, at least according to Rabbi Shimon, the erva of Eishes Achav Shlei Beilamai can be a selective issur, a limited issur. Asa to one brother, Mutter to the other. And then other Isha, which is Loi Beilamai, we Asa to the second brother, Mutter to the first brother. So basically, each Yavam, each surviving brother, each one of the 2 surviving brothers will have only one potential Yavam, because the other one to him is Eishes Achav Shlei Beilamai. How does this work out? Okay, so we're going to end up with 6 brothers. But let's first start with Reuven. Reuven and Shimon and Levi and Yehuda. Reuven was married to Rachel. Shimon was married to Leah. Not necessarily. They were sisters, right? Sisters who share the same mother. Okay. Okay, so let's follow the numbers. That describes a sequence of events. Reuven passes away. He's mace. That's the first thing that happens. Before anything happens further, Yisachar is born. That's number 2. Yisachar is born. Right? At this point, Rachel is also to Yisachar because Yisachar never saw Reuven. As far as Yisachar is concerned, Rachel is Eishes Achiv Shloi Haya Beilameh. Okay, that's pretty clear. Even according to Reb Shimon, we said that Reb Shimon in some cases is mutter. No, in this case, Yisachar arrives before the Yibam to Rachel ever took place. He saw her, he noticed her, he encountered her when she was Reuven's widow. Eishes Achiv Shloi Haya Beilameh. Okay, now Levi, this is number 3. Levi goes ahead and is miyabim Rachel. That's legal because Levi was around with during Reuven's lifetime. Right? We had Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda around the same time, living together. Reuven passes away. Yisachar is born. Levi is miyabim Rachel, the widow of Reuven. Okay, so now she's his wife. Number 4 on the list was Shimon. Shimon passed away right then and there, leaving behind Leah. At that point, Zevulun arrives on the scene. He's born. He can never marry Leah. As far as he's concerned, Leah is Shimon's widow, and Shimon is Leah Beilameh. What happens now? Who's miyabim Leah? Number 6 on the list is Yehuda. Yehuda saw Shimon, so he can miyabim Leah. So now Reuven and Shimon are gone. Levi and Yehuda are the new characters on the scene. Levi married to Rachel, Yehuda married to Leah. Now, relative to Yisachar and Zvul, we are the Yisurim. Very pashut. Yisachar is Asa Barachel, like we said before, because he arrived when Rachel was still Yevamos from Reuven, before she was taken over by Shimon. So even though, by Levi, sorry. So even though Levi married her, but since he encountered her when she was still pre-Yibum and she was Reuven's widow, she was she remains Asa for all time. Whereas Zevulun, but Yisachar can marry Leah. Because when he was born, Leah was married to Shimon. And he was born during Shimon's lifetime. So he lived together with Shimon, he saw Shimon. So basically he's Asa in Rachel and Mutter in Leah. Zvulun is the other way around. He has a problem with Leah, not with Rachel, because remember, he came on the scene after Shimon's death, when Leah was Yevamos. He never saw Shimon, so Leah is off limits to him. But as far as Rachel is concerned, he's mutter, because when he arrived, Rachel was married to Levi. Right? He arrived after she's been taken over by Levi. As far as he's concerned, she's Levi's wife. He doesn't have to reckon the fact that she was once Rachel's wife, once Reuven's wife. This is the Shittas Reb Shimon. Shimon holds that if, at least in this case, we're sure that Reb Shimon is mater. If the brother arrives once the Yevamos has been taken over by the new brother, so he never saw her as a widow. He never encountered her in a widow state, widowed by his brother, who he never saw. He doesn't have to reckon with that part of her history. So bottom line is, when Levi and Yehuda pass away, Rachel and Leah are now widows for the second time around. Yisachar cannot marry Rachel, but he can marry Leah. Zvulun cannot marry Leah, but can marry Rachel. So all the Rachel and Leah are sisters, and typically sisters that are Yevamos pose a problem to the two surviving brothers, because anyone that you're going to marry is a sister of Yevamos, which is a problem. It's like a sister of your wife, but not when one of them is usher on you, in which case you don't have to reckon with that one. As far as you're concerned, that lady's off the scene. She's not part of the equation. Right, just go briefly over this case. We had Reuven and Shimon, Levi, Yehuda alive at the same time. Reuven was married to Rachel. He passes away. Yisachar was born at that point. Rachel now is also to him because she was married to a brother who he never saw. Now she was taken over by Levi, who was miyabim her. Okay. Now Shimon, who was married to Leah, passes away. And Zevulun arrives on the scene. He's also on Leah because he sees her as a widow from his brother Shimon, who he never experienced, who he never lived with. Now Yehuda is miyabim Leah. Now Levi and Yehuda both pass away. Yisachar is Asa and Rachel, but Mutter and Leah. Right? And Zvulun is Asa and Leah because he saw her as a widow from his brother who he never experienced. But his Mutter and Rachel because when he came, she was already married to Levi, a brother who was Beilameh. So you have two sisters. Achayser sheyivimta. She asur lazeh muterach lazeh. Rachel, who's asur to Yisachar, is mutter to Zvulun. And asur lazeh muterach lazeh. The Leah, who's asur to Zvulun, is mutter to Yisachar. So each one does what he has to do. Yisachar marries Leah, and Zvulun marries Rachel. Now let's just realize one thing, that this only works according to Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon is the one who tells us that if the brother is born when the Yevamos is already in the care of the new brother, she's already in Siyamim, then she's mutter to the newly arrived brother because he never saw her as an almana of his departed brother, of the brother that he never experienced. That's the Shittas Reb Shimon. Once the new Yibum takes place, she can forget about her history, can disregard the fact that she was once married to the other brother, who he never saw. Right? So as far as he's concerned, she's his second brother's wife. That's it. He doesn't have to reckon with the fact that she was once married to a brother that he never saw. So this is only according to Reb Shimon. But according to Chachamim, all these Nashim are also to Yisachar and Zvulun, because they were never around during Reuven and Shimon's lifetime. And they have to reckon with the fact that she was once formerly married to a brother that they never saw. Right? This is the fundamental machlokes between Reb Shimon and the Rabbanan. We're going to see as Hashem in the next parak. So bottom line is, if we follow Reb Chia's formula that this concept of asal lazeh, mutal lazeh, etc., applies to all cases in the Mishnah, including Eisha Zachar Shvei, which only works according to Reb Shimon, apparently we're getting involved in machlokes. And this flies in the face of the statement that Rebbe told Reb Shimon, told Levi. Now, the reason why we don't want to add cases to the Mishnah is because we don't want to get involved in machlokes. Here we are. We're getting entangled in machlokes. And says the Gemara, you're right. Ela l'Rebbe haniklo Leslie. Apparently Rebbe, who held that the Mishnah is steering clear of machlokes, doesn't hold this call of Reb Chia. And therefore, according to Rebbe, we're not going with Reb Shimon. We're following Shittas Rabbanan. In all cases, Eishes Achar Shlei B'Olam is Asur. We're not getting involved in machlokes. Okay, so a real brief chazar of today's daf. We have the halachas of Karban Chatos. Karban Chatos, which applies to the Bezdin with the Tzibur, and also the Yachid, and the Nasi, and the Mashiach. And we have different types of animals brought for different types of Averis. We have Shar Mitzvahs, we have Avodah Zarah. So when it comes to Shar Mitzvahs, a Yachid brings a Kispa Seira, a Nasi a Soir, Mashiach and Tzibur bring a par. When it comes to Avodah Zarah, everybody brings a Seira except by its Tzibur, where it's par l'oiler Sar l'chatas. We learn it either based on the Pasuk of Alel, which leads into all types of drashes which bring about this result, or based on the Pasuk of Torah Achas, which is the Rabbanan source for all these halachis, using all types of drashes and Gzerah Shabbos. We do have a chiddush in the Gemara that when it comes to Avodah Zarah, we equate a Yachid or a Rabbim, it doesn't matter, as long as it's not a Tzibur or a Shevet, which gets their own type of a carbon. And we concluded that our Mishnah, Nafezim and Aleph, at least according to Rebbe, steers clear of any machlokes. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.